Endgame was a once-in-a-generation experience the world had never seen before. Simple, clean. But the more you sit with it, the more it just works. Because think about where we were in 2008. Iron Man comes out and nobody, and I mean nobody, knew what was about to happen. Marvel wasn't the guaranteed billion-dollar machine it is today. Robert Downey Jr. was considered a risk. The idea of a shared cinematic universe was basically unproven at that scale. And yet Iron Man 1 just delivered. It was charming, it was fun, the action was great, and RDJ was magnetic in a way that felt completely effortless. It was a great film by any standard. But here's the thing. When you watched Iron Man 1 in 2008, you didn't feel the weight of anything yet. There was no weight to feel. It was the first brick in a wall that hadn't been built yet. Fast forward 10 years. 10 years of movies. 10 years of characters. 10 years of watching these heroes. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, the Guardians, Black Panther, Spider-Man. 10 years of watching them face impossible odds and come out on top. Every single time. That's what the MCU trained us to expect. Heroes win. That's the deal. And yeah, there were stakes along the way. Civil War fractured the team. Characters made sacrifices. But at the end of the day, nobody truly lost. Not in a way that felt permanent. Not in a way that shook you. Then Infinity War happened. And look, I don't think people fully appreciate how insane the cultural moment around Infinity War was when it first came out. People were walking out of theaters in silence. Genuinely. That almost never happens. You know how after most blockbusters, people are chatting, checking their phones, already debating where to eat? Not after Infinity War. Because for the first time in 10 years, they lost. Completely and utterly lost. Thanos got the stones. He snapped his fingers. And half of everything, including characters people had been following for years, just turned to dust. Peter Parker grabbed Tony Stark and said, "I don't want to go." And a grown adult audience lost it. In a Marvel movie. Nobody saw that coming. That was the shock. But Endgame? Endgame was something different entirely. Endgame wasn't the shock. Endgame was the resolution. And there's a huge difference between those two things. When you walked into Endgame, you already knew the stakes. You'd spent a year sitting with the loss. You'd had time to feel it. And now you were walking in to find out if it could be undone, and what it would cost. Every single scene in that movie carried 10 years of history behind it. When the portals opened and every hero came through, you didn't just feel excitement, you felt relief. You felt something that had been building for a decade finally arriving. And when Tony Stark said, "I am Iron Man," and snapped his fingers, the same man who started all of this in 2008 with a cave and a box of scraps, that's not just a great movie moment, that's the end of an era. You can't manufacture that, you can't fake it. It only works because of everything that came before it. That's what makes it a once-in-a-generation experience. Now, I will say this, Iron Man 1 is actually the better film, and I think it's worth being fair about that. From a pure filmmaking standpoint, structure, pacing, focus, Iron Man 1 is arguably tighter. It doesn't require any homework. You can watch it cold with zero Marvel knowledge and have a great time. It stands completely on its own. Endgame does not work that way. Endgame is basically incomprehensible if you haven't done the 10 years of investment beforehand. It's not a standalone film, it's a finale. So if you're grading on pure cinematic craft, Iron Man 1 might actually win that argument. But best film and most important cultural moment are two completely different categories, and Endgame belongs in a category that very few pieces of pop culture ever get to enter. So here's where I land on it. Iron Man 1 is the movie that started everything. It's the reason any of this exists. Without it working, without RDJ being as perfect as he was, without Favreau getting the tone exactly right, none of it happens. No Avengers, no Infinity War, no Endgame, nothing. But Endgame is what that investment became.